Our African gods may be useless in terms of making sure that we have good roads, we have 24 hours electricity, and other things like that. But to ruin your destiny, count them in. Because somebody scores and does like this, doesn't mean he's pointing to God, dude.
Okay, now this is not even about.
He may be pointing to the Orishas that helping him score. Hey, I'm telling you that these are the things that. He's not necessarily God, dude.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Hit Podcast. My name is T. You already know what time it is. We are back with another juicy and spicy episode of the Hit Podcast. First of all, warning, side effects may include hot takes and some buzzwords. So if you cannot undo the heat, I always say it, you know what to do. Anyways, for this episode, we are not just the only one here, but let's just see. First of all, let me just talk to my guys. Hi guys, how are you guys doing today?
Hi Tammy.
Hi Tosi,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
It's
You
good
look
to
good.
see you. You too, my love. But I don't love your jersey though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just hit it on Chelsea. How are you fine? How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. I'm feeling good today.
Yeah, I can see.
David is not here, so you know.
Yeah, that's true, guys.
David
We
always
miss
gives me
you.
some extra energy. But
I know,
it is what it
right?
is.
So we don't give you some extra energy.
We ladies don't give you extra energy.
So let's move on quickly.
Okay, it's fine, it's good. So guys, on this episode, we have a very special guest in the building. We have Dr. Chief Oloye. Wait till the historian of the game.
Hey.
The one who has the history of football
Preach.
in his palms or hands, whatever. We have Mr. Tosin Abayomi. Please give it up for him, everybody.
Wow. T, what can I say? That is the best intro I've gotten. And that is shade to Tunde, by the way. That is shade to Tunde, by the way.
Today, sorry, wherever you're listening.
And so many people may know him from.
Yeah, Crossfire.
Of course.
You guys know him from Crossfire. Anyways, so you guys, back to the topic for today. So we've heard, our guest and you guys, we've heard cases, or we've seen cases, we've heard gist, stories of people saying, oh, goalkeepers, there's some things that, of goalkeepers putting something in their post, And somehow, when they put something in that post, people like the opposing team that is trying to score don't score. But when you somehow they get to remove it, boom, goes everywhere. And I'm wondering, oh my God, what's going on? Is it real? And I just want to know, is it Juju? Is it real? Do you guys think religion now have an effect or, on football performance?
So what do you mean? Do we think religion impacts performance, right?
Yeah, exactly. Do you think it affects your performance on the pitch?
What do you think?
No, you guys, no.
Let's
Let's start from our guest.
You want to start with me?
Let's start from our guest.
Okay.
Are you sure we
What do you
shouldn't
mean,
leave the
what do I
best
do?
for last?
No.
You guys
let's
should
move
actually
with the
start
flow.
and let's see what you guys have to say about it.
Okay. Tosin, what do you think?
Because I wanted somebody else to say something that will lead to what I'll say.
No,
Okay,
say it.
no, that's fine. Let me
Yes.
go. Since it looks like Tosin has a lot to say about
Yes.
Okay.
about this topic. So if the question, if I'm going to answer short and direct, I would say no. I've never believed that you can use jazz or you. Now, I'm not saying that it's not possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there has to be a deeper realm than what we're seeing. I'm sure that there are things that happen
Definitely.
that we're not aware of, But I've always felt like, and this is just my own take, right? I've always felt like every single person has talent, right? You're talented in something. Some people have not discovered it, or some people don't know which talent they have. So my point of view is that even as footballers, so let's use football.
Okay.
So even as footballers, some people are more talented than others. That's how it got. Now, somebody might be playing football and that's not even his real talent, but you haven't discovered it. That's why they are better players than others. We don't want to call names. Yeah, so I think that. So I'm just going to come out and say that look, if you're losing games or it's because you're not as good as the person you're playing against in tennis and basketball. So I'm not a fan of. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just not one of those people who believes
Don't
that
believe that
you can.
it could affect.
Let me give you an example, right? We
Okay.
live in a very religious country. Both religions, right? And there are people who practice voodoo, whatever the case may be, right? I know that every time you every 10 steps there's a church. Every 20 steps there's a church. People are
Yes,
praying constantly. People were praying for Nigeria we have prayed and prayed. I have been in church on a Sunday where the pastor has said, let us pray. Because Nigeria is playing against, I'm not going to call names or anything.
Wow.
We did not win.
Crazy.
You see people in puddles pray before they kick off.
Yes.
People pray before penalty kicks. People pray when they place bets. Nothing works. So if someone can explain to me, maybe there's a way we are not praying right.
I think that's where I'll come in.
Maybe we're not praying the right way. It does not work. So that's just my own opinion. I personally don't think, sorry to cut you short, I don't think God's hand is in like, I think what he has done his part, which is he has given people talent. And I think the rest, he has left it for you to use it how you want. So I don't think that he's now going to come and say, okay, because Tosin is saying she wants Man U to win. But somebody else is on the other side praying. So I just don't think it works.
I think until you face a problem or you see your team in a mess, that's when you can relate to that. This is not clean. This is not physical. This is spiritual.
This is
You
beyond.
can't have a striker that doesn't know how to score and you think it's physical. You can't have a goalkeeper that is collecting goals left and think it's physical. It's not.
It's not normal anymore.
Even David De Gea, there was a point that we're losing. That was even before this one, no. One era before we started losing again. David De Gea in an interview said he thinks there's a spiritual problem. That is somebody that doesn't believe in voodoo or juju. For him to say this thing out. And let's not forget, recently, Boba's brother came out to say that Boba buried Diana in the middle of Old Trafford. The day I will go to Old Trafford, I'm going with shovel. I want to go and dig out any hyena because since that statement came out, I be lion. I don't even know which animal they say buried there. Since that statement, we've been going downward. So I think that there are some things that affect players. Like, you just can't be that bad. I'm sorry. You know how to play football. You just how is goals passing? I be ball passing. It's spiritual, please. You can't tell me anything.
This Pogba thing, is it like, when do you think they did it?
In the night, maybe they were flying now. Do I know? We didn't do it in the afternoon. You know, all these type of things, they can maybe dried lion or something that isn't too big.
Yeah,
that
like
represents
in the middle of the night.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had to dig Old Trafford.
Or the placenta of the baby. Just place it
You
inside the
understand? We've been suffering. A brother cannot just come out and say something that wild, except something is still buried there.
I'm on your side.
Thank you. Chiefs,
Okay, so
take
please,
it on.
our
your
guests would
side.
like to hear from you. What do you think?
The thing is, Ifeanyi doesn't know what Ifeanyi doesn't know.
Right. Which is why I said there might be other things
It's naive.
that we don't know
It's a small
about.
boy. What does
And
he know?
normally I like to keep it PC, but what I'll say is this:
Yes.
Ifeanyi, life will not deal with you.
Amen.
So as this is a discussion. This is a very, very important discussion, and if you are familiar with grassroots football in Nigeria, and I've said it time and time again, we've had this discussion before, and I will tell you that the lengths at which people go to make sure that some people do not even make it, like forget even performance, that some people do not make it, you will be shocked. We will talk about celestial houses of worship. We talk about multiple
Hello.
imams or whatever the case is, but that's even the basic religion. Let's actually go to the crux of the matter, which is the metaphysical powers.
The terrestrial.
The metaphysical powers. And I was an unbeliever like you. And
Tell us more.
I was an unbeliever like you. And if you pay close attention,
Yes.
you get to see that, especially on the African continent. Now, for some reason, we've not been able to maximize the powers of our African gods on the European stage. And I think, obviously, in my own opinion, I think the passing over from the Atlantic Ocean to Europe is still kind of affecting their powers one way or another. But in this African continent, I kid you not, I can, obviously we have reports already of what happened in multiple Africa Cup of Nations, people spraying white powder on the floor. These are things that, like,
People seeing lion heads before they take
there were
shots.
times whereby there were a lot of African teams that said they were not going to particular. I'm not going to mention any country.
Yes.
That they are not going to a particular stadium to play. Some people call their stadium slaughterhouse. Why? Are you that good? Do they? Some people, before they construct the stadium, there's an amount of sacrifices they've made before they lay the pitch. And this is African football for you. It is do or die. We take things very, very personal. There's a lot of pride in African football.
Yeah.
So for me, if you are very, very familiar with the African football terrain, before we even now get to other details of, I will make sure I destroy your destiny. Those are different discussions. We can get into that one later. But in terms of performance on the pitch, I kid you not. Our African gods may be useless in terms of making sure that we have good roads, we have 24 hours electricity, and other things like that. But to ruin your destiny, count them in. They can always do that. They can always do that.
Why is
question.
it like that though? Why is
Like
it?
with what you said, sorry.
Yeah.
There's an example I want to make now. Do you think it's physical, Onana?
It's not
You
ordinary.
see,
It's Cameroon. It's not far from us.
this is I don't want to come in with I don't want to turn this into a Manchester United therapy session. But the problems with Manchester United, if we are being honest, and that is one of the reasons why I suggested that Victor Osimhen should go there. You need another African to solve
Thank
this.
you. Oh, where's it?
You need another African when like, you know, there have been issues like that before the time of whereby, I know you heard about the courses in which they said, allegedly, obviously, that Manchester City could not win the Champions League.
Because of
Yaya
it.
Toure.
The Yaya Toure debacle, that there was a African shaman that said
Until
that
he forgave Pep.
those are the things we are talking about. So as it relates to Manchester United, we are now encroaching about a decade now, in which that this giant of a club
Plus,
is now in poverty.
Not poverty, sure. No,
Not in
let's go.
poverty.
Plus.
What will you call 15th?
I have a different theory, but you know, let me hear.
Yeah,
let
so
me hear you.
as for players' performance, we can always talk about more signings, better signings. Some of these players, you look at the way they were performing in their previous clubs
Before they came,
and they look like a different player
At the club.
when they come in. They may get onto the pitch and start, and there's a certain metaphysical body that embodies them, and
Maybe the Lions.
you heard the story of Nigeria and India.
Please tell
Is that
us.
story?
I heard they said it's like a maze or something.
No.
So
Now,
So is it real?
It may be a myth, but it's not. The thing is, it's an exaggeration.
Yes, there's no smoke
It's an
without
exaggeration,
fire.
but there's no smoke without fire.
I think I
If somebody
Fact,
says
fact.
he sees an elephant, you may not really see an elephant, it may be an alligator. So like when the story passes down from time to time, it becomes diluted. So you may see so those are
But tell me the story though. I mean, I don't know the story.
James
This
As
is
a
fantastic.
historian- as a historian-
This is a
as a
story.
historian of the game, right?
Exactly.
This
I
is
was
a-
young when this happened.
This
I'm
is a
very
story
sure.
that, you know, like the Americans used to, they read stories to their children when they are going to bed. And in Nigeria, these are the stories that they told us growing up.
Thank you.
You know, when you are going to
Among
bed,
many
maybe they
others,
flog
yeah.
you before you are going to bed in your own case. And they tell you about when Nigeria played India. And that balls were turning into lion.
Are you for real?
Fact,
Am I for real?
That's why
Yeah.
they were banned.
If somebody
or
says he
something.
sees lion, who are you to question his judgment?
That look, he was about to kick the ball and turn into a lion.
You want to catch ball turn into cheetah. What are you going to do? Put yourself in his
Indian.
position.
So like, I understand Indians.
So in my opinion, that one in terms of bordering on player performance, there is that one. You can talk about hexes, you can talk about witchcraft, you can talk about curses that they're like, if you look at some organizational structures, like in my opinion, in my own personal opinion, the day like I said Nigeria was not going to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup,
Which people killed you for.
which people killed me for,
Yes.
and I'm going to get the
I
last
remember,
laugh.
do you know, sorry, before I came to Pulse, I saw that video. And I'm like, who the fuck is
Who is this hater,
guy?
right?
Do you
Yeah.
understand?
But he was speaking fact.
I swear.
Is when you have like a corrupt organization through and through, like Nigerian football administrators, who have found themselves in one way or another in idol worshiping.
Allegedly.
When they do not pay the required price, it's a give and take economy. There are certain instances whereby Nigeria has been rewarded, but over time, we've never paid the right dues, and we've been living on the benefits of what our ancestors have provided us. That's just the simple truth. So now we are in this economy whereby we need to suffer a bit. There needs to be a little bit of pain. And in my own opinion, I feel that I don't want to make this something that we just laugh about. There's a lot of reason to laugh, but there's also a lot of reason to actually pay attention and see the signs and see that, yes, maybe some certain religions their own God does not interfere in football or sports.
Yes.
But the African religion, African traditional religion, and our worshippers have been able to find a way to make it happen. And it is real as it is then till now.
And that's what I find crazy, to be honest. I'm not saying, I mean, I'm a God's child. I love Jesus. I pray very well.
That's all good.
Yeah. Excuse me, sir. I pray very well. But like somehow it's like whenever we pray, especially when it comes to the like matches, all this kind of stuff, like you're not praying for yourself. Like, oh my God, I want Nigeria to win. We see pastors say all of this every time. It doesn't probably work like that. It doesn't really.
I know it never works.
It doesn't. And I'm just like wondering, is it that, should we go there? Should we, go to the...
Maybe God is tired of Nigeria.
To the Oguns and the...
The truth is this, I will agree with Ifan because like you could make an argument that like God has forsaken this country. Let's just be honest.
But we said, I mean, they always say that we are God's own.
They say a lot of things about Nigeria, It's
Giant
maybe funny,
of Africa,
I don't think all these prayers things really work, because if it works,
when it comes
Manchester
to sports,
United would have won Champions League. I've
Nigerians
fasted
would
for
pray and
Manchester
lose.
United to win games.
You fasted?
Yes.
How many days?
And I will not mention. But I even noticed that anytime I pray, like I kneel down, pray to God that please let's win.
Are you for real?
Yes, we actually end up losing the game.
Well, are you
So
for
I
real?
gave up praying for them.
No,
So I think, yes, for real.
Okay,
I'm
maybe
serious.
we need
so
to
I
change.
think that God, even in the Bible, God said He will reward your hard work.
Exactly.
When your
So you have
players
to
are there
work.
doing another thing.
Yeah.
Which prayer? There's not kabash now kabash that will make them
you are
do this
praying.
thing.
So
I
Manchester
think-
United players are in a whole house or
Exactly.
inviting
My
they're
theory
inviting
is-
an OnlyFans model to the house the
Exactly.
night
My
before.
theory is, I
And
think
you want
this is
them to win
something.
game.
My theory is, well, this is something I've said a number of times, and my friends who are Man United fans, they laugh at me, but I really feel like Sir Alex Ferguson had a pact with the devil. I'm just keeping it real.
The Red Devils.
I feel like he did something, and he has won and won and won, and he left, and it's over.
So which means you're attributing his success to the devil. Is that what you're saying? So like, which means you're sounding like a typical Nigerian that if they see a successful person, they'll say, "Oh, he has done something
No,
illegal."
but sometimes you have a deal, where it's like, what, over the course of, by the way,
Where did the devil come out from to make that?
This is not
thing?
factual. I have no facts whatsoever. I'm just saying, I feel like for you to be the most successful club in England and in some regard Europe over a period of time, and you leave, and all of a sudden 15 years later or 12 years later, whatever the case may be, you are fighting relegation.
Things start to fall apart.
You're burning through managers, burning through players, billions of pounds, and things get worse and worse and worse. It's so terrible. It's not like we saw
What
Arsene
would you
Wenger.
not say about Arsenal?
But look
They
at
have
how
not won trophies, any major trophy. They've not won the Premier League since.
Those ones.
we can make this discussion about European clubs, or we
Yes.
can make it about African clubs.
I was
Because I
actually
think
coming there because
African-
I'm like, they say they are European, so I don't think they should
But
be
have you
doing
heard
jazz.
any-
so you don't think
But
Europeans
have you
involve
heard
jazz
any
or
case?
themselves?
anything.
Have
like
you heard
that.
any case of they said Voodoo was involved in a particular match that you are sure of that, and you heard that this thing happened.
So this is all speculation by the
Yeah,
way.
let's
Yes,
make it clear that all of this is
please.
speculation.
Allegedly,
We don't know. We haven't been there.
Allegedly, there was a time in the history of a club that you are wearing. Club's name is Chelsea.
But it's not my club though.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Whatever the case is. And that there was this powerful player that came from an African country. Came all the way from an West African country to Chelsea.
Okay.
And became a god there. And all of a sudden, you see the person that you see today is laughing.
There's someone backstage who is behind the camera, who is
And all of a sudden,
a strong
players
Chelsea fan.
with very, very high quality kept coming to Chelsea. Matthias Ketzman. Gets to
Adrian
Chelsea.
Mutu.
Supposed to be like this, you face it. The fans will say, this boy is nonsense. They'll bring in another striker.
Shevchenko.
Top quality striker. Wait. You get to Crespo. And then Crespo. Very good striker. Come to Chelsea. You see keeper here. You say, this is where I'm doing the world. Play the ball away.
Ojoayi. I get.
Shevchenko.
A Ballon d'Or winner from my ad.
Ballon d'Or
crazy.
winner. One of the best. You see player. You say, let me kick it to the stands. And all of a sudden, we were watching this thing. We were watching it live. But when I finally became a believer, is that once, twice a coincidence, 3 times I start paying attention. You see the 4th time, and when I saw a very, very brilliant player in Fernando Torres come to a team like Manchester to Chelsea. And in a very, very simple game, he played the ball and he hit the bar 2 times in a row. And that was when my connection to the powers of Ogun, I understood what was happening. A lot of Nigerian football fans were still like,
Like he has lost form.
He has lost form.
Yeah.
We that we were seeing it.
You knew.
The day he scored his first goal for Chelsea, I will never forget that day. He needed rain to fall from the heavens and break the yoke. Oh! For him to put the ball in the net. Otherwise.
You're making me believe.
Otherwise.
So you are believing that Man U's problem might be
Me,
Pogba.
I've said, forget. There are some things you go through and you just be like, this is not real. This can't be real.
I think Onana, even though I'm not a
This
strong
is
believer
not
in
happening.
the spiritual realm, I think Onana's problem might really be.
I'm telling you,
It might be
maybe somebody's
something-
not happy with the fact that he came to the biggest club in
Or you
England.
offended somebody or
Yes,
something.
or the fact that we've been so successful and a lot of people have cried
It
about
is in
it.
the blood.
Okay, can
It
we
is
bring
in
this?
the blood.
Can we bring this back home now? So here's my question to you
Okay.
guys, right? My question is, Tosin has helped to establish that these things are real, even though I'm not a believer, right? How come we don't benefit from it as Nigerians? Super Eagles, we're keeping this in sports, football, right? How come we cannot benefit? How come we are currently in a predicament of missing a second World Cup in a row?
We have detached ourselves from the source of our strength. That's the first thing. We have detached ourselves. Majority of our players, majority of the youths nowadays have now decided to embrace foreign religions that were brought to us.
Are you a chief priest?
I was going to ask because of the beads and the ring.
You have to have a connection to your roots. You have to have a connection to your roots. But if everybody has forsaken their... Because if you go and look at the pictures of the players in the 1980s, and you see like what is Sigbere for most of them. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I understand that.
That means you see them with a lot of marks. You see them with a lot of big chains. Those chains are not gold chains. Those chains, if you put water on them, they will wash away.
Wow.
But those chains have a very, very spiritual benefit. That time in the Super Eagles, if you hear the fables and you hear the tales in those times, you hear that then even players themselves, they know the strength of their families. They don't used to leave their boots in the dressing room. They used to go with if they want to play a football match now, you want to, let's say Nigeria wants to play Senegal, you will take your football boot If you want to go to the toilet and urinate, you take your football boot with you. Oh, they can just put something inside your boot. Your leg will just swell up. I hear the bad anyway. So
I'm learning
we are
something.
telling you that in those days, people were very, very cautious and cognizant of the effects of spirituality and how it could affect both performance on and off the pitch. Now we get into a modern era whereby a lot of people are dismissive of those kind of stuff. Coupled with the obvious corruption and mismanagement, a lot of fake-headed, balloon-headed people governing our sports. They don't tap into the spirituality and they don't even do the right things. Or they just... I remember when Nigeria did not qualify for 2022 World Cup, you heard a football administrator saying that, like, but he's in God's hand. Did you do the proper sacrifices? What did you do? Did you prepare well, or did you do the sacrifices? You didn't do either. So why are you complaining? So if you don't do either, you find ourselves in this position.
So do you see that it's a bad thing to dandy, because that's the word I want to use. I don't know how to say it in English, to add a little bit of jazz or voodoo in as a player, because people get angry when they say, "Oh, I'm using jazz to score."
We should be pouring things in our post now. So
I'm not saying
there are players that have entered the places of the most high spiritual places in this super.
Do you have an example?
I won't reveal.
Everything is alleged.
don't worry, sir.
Allegedly, obviously.
Don't worry, sir. We understand that.
I have a question to the historian of the game. There's a certain Chelsea player, okay, who, like you said, arrived and shut the door on others who came after him. It sounds like you are belittling that player's talent. So my question is, are you saying he was undeserving? Are you saying the ones who are training hard, who are scoring these goals, who, especially him, this is somebody who, we're not going to say names, we all heard the stories that, players would come. There was even another African player who came, who would, like you said, play the ball wide, So are you saying that are you belittling his talent? Are you saying that, look, he was not as talented as he was portrayed to be, and then because of the spiritual effects, the players who were better than him or perceived to be better than him could not get a chance? Or was that because he was actually talented? Because like I said at the top of the show, I believe that every human being is talented in one way or the other. If yours is football, mine may not be football. Even though we both play football, it will be obvious that you are better than I am. So are you saying that, this player in question did not benefit from his actual talent?
Obviously, to get to a certain level as a professional, you need to be able to work on your craft. Okay. However, there was a period of about 6 years whereby this particular player you are mentioning, anytime they launch the ball from the back, it's always like there's a magnet on his chest. Whoever launches the ball, if it's John Terry, if it's Lampard, if it's Cavallo, the ball will somehow land on his chest like this. It's like, I'm telling you the truth. I've seen this guy chest the ball and turn like this with the ball. Like, what are you? Is there an electromagnetic field on your chest? And these are the things we are talking about. So there's obviously the opportunity. One of the most famous bets I've made, and I was pretty right about it, obviously, due to my intuition and just following the game, was that the Champions League final in 2012, I know that this person is going to score. I know he's going to score. I was worried. 80 minutes, 70 minutes, 80. But when the goal came, I think it was in the 86 or 88 minutes. When the goal came, I was not shocked. So I'm telling you that as Africans, we know these things. What we need to do is that these heroes of our past, these personalities these deities, how can we get them into the modern era to influence the modern era? Because it is obvious that the previous era, they were attuned to these things. And that is why they experienced a lot more successes in those times. Religion is religion, whichever one you believe in. But I'm just saying that, like, we can make an argument that Nigeria was more successful from around the late 80s, the 80s to the 2000s.
Yeah.
And in modern era, it's just as if everything now, obviously the part of corruption and preparation, that has a role to play in it. But I also believe that, like, we have distanced ourselves from our roots, and that is what is costing us.
Okay, so would you say, I mean, with all the training, their skills and everything, someone who is very, very good. So will you say that with all the training and the skills that they have, so it matters less? I mean, for someone who's like fortified, they have jazz, all that, whatever.
Do you know what this is?
I don't understand that.
You don't know what this is? There was a particular player that played for the land, always did this. And everybody knew that. Have you watched Kotoaye?
No.
Okay. You don't watch Kotoaye?
Sorry, what country is this player from?
This player was obviously from the Nigeria, obviously.
So I'm just saying that, like, sometimes there's celebrations on the pitch.
Oh,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Because I've seen some of our players do this and all that stuff. Like, doesn't mean that.
So you think he was worshipping Coco?
I'm just telling you that, like,
Can you do it again? Can you?
this player always did this, and I was like, what the is this? What the hell is this? And, like, looking back at it, like, I understand. Okay.
With more
Was it-
knowledge.
He just clear.
With more knowledge, I understand. Every time he scored and he did this.
Was it very good? I mean, like,
He scored
It
a lot
was
of goals
one
anyway.
of the best.
how do
Who
you
are
know
we
this?
talking about?
I
Six, nine,
I
five.
know who is. You should know if you follow the game.
But
You
6,
should
I don't know. I don't follow.
Ah,
the
we are
game.
not
we don't
going
want
to
to
talk
say
about
we
the
don't want to
names.
say names, but I think
But, like,
I think most people know.
Anytime you see
You know.
this,
He played in the Premier League
I
for a
want
while. yeah.
Yami Tonfo. So it is.
Allegedly.
We talk about Yoruba jazz. Since we don't talk about Benin jazz.
Allegedly.
This one self is not even a Yoruba
This
guy.
is not Yoruba.
He's
Yeah.
an Edo guy.
Okay.
Edo
I feel
slash
I feel like
Benin.
those Benin people.
You get
What happened? Tell me
Edo people.
more. I don't
They are coming to our side.
What?
They are coming to our side.
What happened to Edo people?
Because somebody scores and does like this doesn't mean he's pointing to God, though.
Okay, now this is not even about.
He may be pointing to the Orishas that helping him score. Hey, I'm telling you that these are the things that. He's not necessarily God, though.
Okay.
No, Alasha.
I'm going to say something. This is not even about players or performance on the pitch. This Benin guy, what's his name again? UTD Trey. Oh my God, that guy's a Twitter influencer.
United
And we've
Trey,
seen-
yeah.
United
yes,
Trey,
we've
yeah.
seen many times that whenever this guy goes to matches, he always jinx it. So, is it like is it something, or it's just
That
whenever
one,
it's
that
just,
one is just cost. But what I will say is this. I've heard stories, and this goes into. I've heard stories, and this
He's a
goes.
Man United guy actually, so I think I get that.
Yeah, that one. There are stories of players, and you see, if you want to see rudimentary metaphysical powers back and forth. Back and forth. One, they are doing this one for themselves, so they are doing it's in grassroots football.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Honestly.
I think I agree.
You see, at the senior level, you see in grassroots football, people are making sure that, like, oh, this scout is coming today. This one has to fall sick so that I'm going to
I
be the
can-
star player
yeah.
that this scout is going to see.
Yeah.
This guy is going to fall. He's doing Baloruka. Go! The guy will just be doing like this on the field. You understand? So I'm just telling you that, like, the competition in grassroots football, because most of them are in tune with these things.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a lot of more risk. There's a lot more, like, they have so much to gain.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
So they're like, this is my all. I'm going to give. If I have to destroy your life to make it to Europe, I don't really give a shit. So you see that. But, like, at the professional level, at the end of the day, like I said, some of our Juju has not been able to translate to European. I know some of them have been able to, but we are still working on that for the main part.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. But before we even go, that Uruka, what's it about?
This one,
Mm-hmm.
see me after the service.
Okay.
Tosin,
Anyways,
it was
together.
really nice to have you. I have to say it. Yeah, and I understand why you're my
You don't
namesake
call him
now.
Tosin.
Well done.
Dr. Chief Oloye,
Oh,
the historian of the game.
General.
He gets.
he has broadened our.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually learned a
Are
lot
you a
today.
believer now?
No,
Fine.
but he has made some very strong points. You know,
Yeah.
I still believe that somebody that's better than you is better than you. You know, I just feel like there's no way. It doesn't matter. Listen, it doesn't matter how much jazz I do. I'm not going to beat Alcaraz or Federer or Nadal. But that's just my belief.
But I think
You
that
know, but he has explained that there are areas where these things work, and I believe the grassroots is something where I 100% believe what he's saying. So
yeah, I think I
and look, Super Eagles, there's something wrong. I don't know what it is, but there's definitely
We'll get
something wrong.
to-
I don't know if it's jazz. I don't know if it's the corruption is so much that even God has said, I'm done with these people.
forsaking you.
I don't know, but Super Eagles, there's something wrong. You cannot tell me that you don't go to 2022 World Cup. You won't go to 2026 World Cup.
crazy, it's
What's
crazy.
happening? And at this rate, FIFA would have to increase the number of countries to 50 for us to get in. The way it's looking, I mean, it's terrible.
But it's nothing God cannot do, miracles happen.
Yeah.
But I think I've learned something today. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. And I think, just as you said, you're saying that like you're not sure. But I feel even if you want to do jazz or whatever, you still have to be in that line. Like maybe you have to be a player. Like how would I explain it now? I want to be a super good player or something. I can't just come from nowhere and say I want to become a super player and can't use jazz. It's not going to work. You have to still be like a player in the grassroots or something. So maybe you can now still
Facts.
tendy, as we practice say, tendy, so that it's going to like work. But yeah, I've learned something. I hope you guys have learned something.
Yes, we did.
Thank
Very
you very
interesting.
much. Yeah, thank
It was
you.
nice to have you. Hope you
Yeah.
come again very soon.
If you guys will have me, especially you know that me and you already have a
Oh,
connection.
yes, we
Oh,
do.
please check it. Thank
If
you
I
very
will be
much.
jealous.
It's all for the good of the podcast.
Oh my God.
We share her.
We're not sharing anybody, please. Anyways, you guys, we've come to the end of this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned
I'm sure
something.
they did. I mean,
Yeah.
I hope you guys learned something
the
from it.
historian of the game.
Yeah, yeah. So on this note, we see you. Bye, guys. And we'll see you on the next
See you
one.
guys next time.
Bye, guys.